Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to Week 7 of the 2023 NFL season. That's right, we're up to Week 7 already. We're getting close to that halfway mark. Start seeing the separation of the contenders and the pretenders. Some teams are pretty much the spots that we really thought they would be in. I think everyone thought Philly and Miami would be sitting on top. Everyone kind of figured Chicago would be at the bottom. And here we go. But this one's going to be a very short week due to 6 teams having the off week this week. Cincinnati, Dallas, the Titans, Jets, Carolina, and Houston. So we will ensure that we will still have a winless team after this week. And going off of last week, I only went 7-8, which is slightly better than actually is worse than my 7-7 performance the week prior. These past couple weeks have been really bad at trying to determine, the winners in these contests. And a lot of good thing deals with, injuries. Injuries really play a huge factor in a lot of this stuff. And there's a lot of injuries and a lot of question marks floating around this week as well. So we'll just go ahead and start this off with Thursday's action. We have Jacksonville Jaguars heading to the Big Easy to take on the New Orleans Saints. Right now, Trevor Lawrence is expected to start, even though he was limping towards the end of the game last week. But we'll kind of see how that one kind of plays out. Jacksonville's one of these teams that are very inconsistent right now. They'll have a couple games where they're really good and then just totally bottom out. And then they'll win games they shouldn't be winning, losing games they shouldn't be losing. So, not a very steady pace. For the Saints, this is basically, I think, where everyone thought they'd be at anyways. They think the entire NFC South division would be kind of like this. But, Derek Carr came to town. He was actually a breath of fresh air. Is kind of what they needed. Here's what he needed. He did get injured, kind of lost a little bit of step there. But they got the talent there in New Orleans. They got the talent in Jacksonville. So it's trying to figure out who's going to come out on top. This is a nice even match, tug of war, I really think. But Trevor Lawrence starts. I think the balance tips one way. If he doesn't start, it tips the other way. But with that being said, now New Orleans is favored by 2.5. I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to be Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's going to go in the Big Easy tonight and eke out a victory in a very, very close contest between these two franchises. Then Sunday, let's head up to the Windy City where the Bears play host to the Lions of Las Vegas. Once you get injuries are plaguing both of these teams. Garoppolo was out last week with his back, and Justin Fields injured his hand in the Bears loss last week. So these are two teams that have their starting quarterbacks probably lost or could be out for the game. But in terms of the Raiders have a little bit more weapons on offense and probably a little bit more reliable defense. I hate to say that, but these Chicago Bears are I had hopes for them, not playoff hopes. I was being somewhat realistic. But I think injuries are kind of coming to play. Backup quarterback, huge inexperience. He did have some good plays last week. And pretty much in garbage time. But the Raiders are favored by 3. Like I said, it's going to be low scoring for these injury-riddled teams, and I'll go with the Raiders as well. They have the Browns heading up to Indianapolis. The number 1 pick, Richardson's pretty much done for the season. It's coming out. Deshaun Watson is also banged up. So which backup quarterback are you going with? P.J. Walker in the Browns or Gardner Minshew in the Colts? It's both teams are almost identical offensively. They both, excuse me, have a prime time wide receiver. They both have running backs they can trust. It's which defense is going to come out on top. And I think for the Browns, have a Myles Garrett. Kind of gives you the slight edge in that department. Right now, Cleveland's favored by 2.5. It's going to be close because there's going to be a couple backups going at it. Even though Minshew has more experience as a starter than P.J. Walker. But because of the Browns' defense, I am also taking the Browns. They have 2 Foxborough and the Patriots in a position where they didn't find themselves really being at 1-5. But if they keep going through OCs, it's bound to happen. They play host to Buffalo Bills. This is going to be a nice game between divisional rivals. I'm trying to see how well Buffalo can really drive the wedge between him and the Patriots this year. Mac Jones' play has been horrific. I think most of that deals with going through 3 different OCs and trying to find the right balance. I mean, him and Matt Jones over there with the Giants have both had really bad years this year. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 8.5. This is a divisional game. This is going to be closer than that. It's going to be like a 5.5. I think spread is what it should be. I think New England will find ways to kind of disrupt things. Josh Allen, 1 hit away from being knocked out for the season. He got banged up pretty bad last week. And I think it's just 1 good hit and his shoulder's gone. I mean, I think that's how it's going to be, could be. But he says he's fine. We'll see. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 8.5. I'm taking Buffalo as well, but like I said, it's going to be closer. I'll probably go more 5.5, so I might take the Pats for the points. Another divisional clash between Washington and the New York Giants. New York Giants 1-5 right now. A lot of people saw that coming. I knew the Giants' bubble was going to burst this year, just because of their schedule. Saquon Barkley's trying to carry the team. Like I said, Matt Jones is not performing very well this year. Washington has been a surprise team with Sam Howell. I mean, nearly throwing as many interceptions as touchdowns this season. But they're able just to find ways to win. The defense is trying to go back to the way they were a couple seasons ago. Chase Young's not quite back to that form yet. Right now, Washington's favored by 2.5. With this being a divisional game, I'm taking the Giants. I don't know. It's something about this game that kind of has me thinking that, the Giants are going to come in here and get that second win of the season, really separate themselves from Chicago and Houston. That bottom echelon of the NFL standings. They're heading down to Tampa. Well, the Bucs will play host to the Falcons, and Ritter just making some really bad throws last week. Cost them the game. Tampa Bay was trying to do their best to try and stay within their realms of trying to keep it close in their matchup, but could not do that against Detroit. But, of course, it's Detroit. I mean, Atlanta had trouble against Detroit. But I believe more in Baker Mayfield than do Ritter. Atlanta does have some key weapons, especially with Robinson back there in the backfield. And Pittman as your tight end. But also like Mark Evans for Tampa Bay. And like Tampa Bay's defense a little bit better. And Tampa Bay's favored by 2.5. I like that. I think it's going to be a nice close battle between 2 divisional foes. I will also go with the Bucs. Interesting matchup over there in Baltimore as the Ravens play host to the Detroit Lions. The Ravens have been battling injuries throughout the year. Lamar Jackson's trying to do it all once again, which is not going to be a very wise decision. Has been running off victories left, right, and center. Like I said, Detroit's probably one of these teams will probably be a nice addition to the playoffs. Somebody new, a fresh face. But I think they have a few stone blocks in the way. Now, I thought it was going to happen last week, and it didn't happen. Well, now they take on even a tougher defense. A little more wily quarterback in Lamar Jackson. But can Baltimore's defense slow down the Detroit offense? I think they can. I really think that they could. Can Lamar Jackson survive Detroit's defense? I think that's going to be the major issue in this one and the deciding factor in this huge matchup. Right now, Baltimore's favored by 3. I struggle with this one. So Detroit's is really that good right now. Baltimore, there's always question marks with this team, and I don't know why. A lot of times it deals with injuries and trying to find things that would help Lamar that just never pan out. I will also take Baltimore, but I don't think it's going to be 3. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. And it's going to be one of these weird, interesting games on Sunday, but definitely one to, I think, really watch out for. Then we head to L.A. where the Rams play host to the Steelers. And another interesting matchup right here. The Rams having, Cooper Kupp back, and they got Nakio as well, and a nice unknown receiver, rookie receiver, got going out there. It seems like the Rams seem to find those gems out there in the receiving core. Stafford's still having a decent season, even though he has about the same amount of interceptions as touchdowns. But they win. I mean, when you got Darnold on the defensive line, it makes it a little more difficult. But the Steelers, they're not going to be easy out because you have to worry about T.J. Watt. And can Pickett overcome hurdles? Can Canada come up with game plans for Pickett? And so I think some of the key differences with the Steelers is they have the offense on, or the stars on offense, but the offensive coordinator just not know how to use them right. It seems like he's very, very conservative and pretty much calls the wrong play, it seems like. No, I'm not a coordinator, I'm not a coach, I'm not a player, so no, I'm not going to criticize the man too much. But looking at the play of the offense, the blame definitely goes to the OC for part of that, if not majority of it. So we see what type of game plan they come up with against the Rams defense to stifle that rushing attack they have. And they'll get Pickett to be able to throw the Pickens and really evolve that one. See if Najee Harris can actually start making more runs because he barely has 250 yards. It's 5 games in the season. He should have more. But we'll see how this one hammers out. But the Rams are favored by 3. I'm taking the Steelers, edging them out. I don't know. I just believe in Steelers defense a little bit more. But once again, I think that's going to be an L because I'm not sure about this one. The Pacific Northwest, where the Seahawks play host to the Cardinals, the battle of the Birds. Arizona had that great win against Dallas, has yet to be able to repeat that. They kept up with the 49ers for bits, and after that, they've been decimated. Now comes Seattle. I think Arizona should probably make it somewhat interesting most of the game, but I think Seattle in the end is just going to be way too much for them. Right now they're favored by 8. I'll tone that down a little bit. I'll go 7, but I think Seattle's going to be a little too much for them in this aspect. We're headed to Mile High City as the Denver Broncos play host to the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers and Broncos, both teams that I think everyone kind of thought maybe a little bit better than what they are. The marriage right now between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson has not really blossomed. Jordan Love has had his growing pains this year so far as a Packer starter. But there's definitely some highlights there. it's just one of these games that, I think it's going to be, you pick your poison in this one. Right now, Green Bay's favored by 1. Which quarterback you trust more? Well, I trust Russ more than I do Love because Russ has experience. Which defense? I tended to go towards more Green Bay's defense. Which offensive line? That's another huge factor. I think that one's more Green Bay's. Receiving core. I mean, you can go back and see who's, which one, which side of the spectrum kind of fall on. But I'm taking Denver to win at home. I don't know. They just seem to fall short a lot of times, and sooner or later they're going to start clicking and all that. I mean, Kansas City, they really took it to the Chiefs last Thursday. So, I mean, they definitely had things there or weren't there when they took on the Jets. So, I think they continue to work on that. I think Denver's going to start winning towards the end of the season. Might be too little too late. I think this is going to be one of these games where they could sneak out victory. Like I said, it's only 1 point edge for the Packers. I'll take the Broncos. Then the Chargers head to Kansas City in a key AFC West clash. The Chargers just can't seem to get out of their own way. They have moments. I mean, against Dallas, they couldn't withstand that rush towards the end of the game. And then Herbert ended up throwing a game-ending interception. We're there with the Cowboys throughout the game. The Chiefs are not as dominant as many think. I mean, the Broncos were on par with them. They were right there with them. Minnesota had a good showing against them. I mean, the Chiefs have not been a complete dominant force. Definitely these past 3 weeks. The Chargers are hungry. The Chargers seem to do well in Kansas City. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5. And I don't think that's a fair assumption of the Chargers' threat, because they will be a threat. I think this is going to be like a 3-point game. So I'll definitely take Chargers for the points. Which quarterback you trust more? Well, Mahomes. I'll go more Mahomes than I do Herbert. Pacquiao's been a nice, really addition to the Chiefs' rushing attack. He's there last year, but he's been really the focal point this year. Chargers don't really have much of a rushing attack. Their defense is solid, which will give Mahomes and company a lot of fits, especially when you get Bosa and Mack chasing after you. Chiefs defense, as long as Chandler Jones can get back there to disrupt Justin Herbert, that should be enough to get the Chiefs defense to really step up. The Chiefs defense is better than what a lot of people think. I would not be surprised if the Chargers win this game, but I'm taking the Chiefs, edging them out in the end. But like I said, that 5.5 spread the Chiefs have, I'll probably take the Chargers for the point. Then we have Miami heading to Philadelphia in one of the marquee games of the season. This is the clash of former Alabama teammates. Jalen Hurts was a starting quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa was his backup. He got hurt in the championship game. Tua took over. The writing's on the wall for Jalen. He transferred out. He's like, nope, Tua's got this. I'm gone. I'm going to make sure I'm getting started somewhere else. That's where Jalen went to Oklahoma and did pretty good himself. So this is going to be a huge showdown between these two. Can the track meet that Miami has, I mean, it's ridiculous that these guys are just continue to just rack up yards what they do. I mean, Tua is almost at 2,000 yards this season. He's only played 6 games. It's ridiculous. But the way Philadelphia played last week definitely was not the best offensive showing at all. Jalen Hurts was trying to force a lot of things, taking what the defense gives him. If Jalen goes back to that form, he may scramble some more, kind of keep defenses honest, rely on Swift as well in the running attack. I think that's one thing that kind of went away from last week was just went away from the rush at all. And with this game right here, I think it's going to be a very close matchup. I would not be surprised if Miami pulled this one off. But I'm taking Philadelphia at home. But it's not a very reliable pick. Philly's right in favor by 2.5. I think just because they're at home. I might trust the Philly defense a little bit more than Miami's, but can the Philly defense withstand that offensive firepower? That's going to be the big difference. Like I both said, this could be a possible Super Bowl matchup. I can see that too. But I'm still going Philadelphia. I think just because they're at home. If they're down at South Beach, I was going to go Miami. Flip a coin. Or avoid picking this game if you can. And then Monday night, the 49ers will go into Minnesota. The 49ers just struggled immensely against the Browns. Of course, losing Debo and McCaffrey will kind of do that to you. Minnesota was 2-1 towards Chicago. Of course, knocking out Justin Fields really kind of hampers any things that Chicago could do. There's still rumors of Cousins being traded, but he's not even considering waiving his no trade clause. He doesn't want to think about it. So it's one of these things that okay, which one's going to believe in? How's this one going to play out in Minnesota because they don't have Jefferson. The 49ers still have Ayuk. They still have Kittle. I think McCaffrey is expected to come back. The defense still stout. And Bosa should make his presence felt to Kirk Cousins. Right now, the 49ers are favored by 7. Because of injury concerns, I'm going to tone that down a bit. I think this will also be close in a 3-point range. And it's because, once again, injuries play a huge factor. Of course, by the time the game kicks off, injuries we'll know for certain who's starting, who's not. So this game could be a complete, wash for me because of that. But I've been doing pretty good on Monday night, so I'm sticking with the 49ers. I kind of believe them a little bit more. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC, along with the Eagles. Heck, you probably will throw in the Cowboys and Lions in that mix. I mean, that's your final 4 for the NFC. But I kind of believe them more right now. There's just too much turmoil right now in Minnesota to really kind of look at them and think to be, anything favorable. But I do think they will make this a game. I'm not going to overwrite them or write them off. But I think it's going to be, like I said, 3, maybe a 5-point spread. And I will give it to San Francisco to come out with the victory over there in the Twin Cities. There you go. Those are my picks. Like I said, very short week. A lot of great games. That Miami-Philadelphia game is going to be awesome. I think that Chargers-Chiefs game is going to be awesome. The Lions and Ravens will be another excellent showdown. Even tonight's matchup between the Jags and Saints should be entertaining. But that being said, can I get above that 500 mark? The past 2 weeks, I have not gotten above the 500 mark. I topped off at 7 wins. Can at least get 8. I'm going for 8. That's my goal this week is 8 wins. We'll see if I get that. Just let me know which pick you think I got completely wrong. Which game you're looking forward to yourself this weekend. How is your team doing? As you can tell, my team's not doing so well. I accepted it. But hey, let me know down in the comments below. Once you're down, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. So the content I provide you really helps please you two guys. Really helps promote this video out. Also subscribe. Over 90% of you guys are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you a dime. You just press that subscribe button, click the bell icon, turn on notifications, let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.